Creating an employment agreement is easy with Lawpath. Here's how you get started. Once you've set up your account on the Lawpath platform, you can jump into our document library and find the perfect employment agreement for your needs. We've got over 20 employment agreements that you can use for getting started, covering everything from casual terms, part-time terms, full-time, and a range of different ones covering things related to fixed-term employment, maximum term, and longer forms as well, and also ones that are tailored to different industries, for example, within professional services. We're going to start today with a full-time employee agreement. Once you've chosen the document, you'll be taken into the builder, and this is where you're able to put in any of the inputs that you need. The first place to get started here is by using our questionnaire. We'll guide you through each of the different inputs that will be required into the document, and as you go through and enter in the information, this will then populate the document in the relative areas. So for example, if I've got my employee starting on the 10th of November, you'll see that that's updated then directly through into the document, and that will cover it across any of the different areas in the document. There's a number of ways you can then go through customizing the document. You can go through the builder, covering in all of the information that will be needed to complete the document. This is typically the first place that you will start in terms of building something out. And as I go through and add in these details, you will see it will add all of this information directly into the document. As we bounce through as well, there is the ability for us to add in additional clauses relative to our industry. When you sign up, we'll ask you a number of questions related to the size of your business, your structure, and the industry that you're in. And then from there, we would generate some suggestions of some additional clauses that you may want to look to add into your document as well in the relevant areas. And it will tell you as part of the suggestions why these are important for you to include as well. So for example, it's saying in here that we should look to include something in related to anything related to confidentiality or intellectual property obligations, to being able to cover our ability to strengthen an employer's position related to breaches in these spaces. So I can go in and add those in directly. I can scroll down to find specifically where those ones have been added in and what the reasons are behind those, or I can go through and dismiss them if I find that they're not relevant for my business as well. As you go through the questionnaire, the other area that you will want to cover off is it will give you the ability to look to add in what are things related to the probationary periods of that employee. So it will cover off what is going to be needed in there, what's commonly allowed and included into there. It's also going to cover things related to salary, when salary will be paid. It will also cover things related to for your part-time and your casual employees, related to things related to awards as well. So you can add those ones in seamlessly. It can add in directly, you can add in things like non-compete periods into the contracts as well, and that will build in clauses relative to this for you. And you can also go through and using our draft functionality, be able to build those out yourself. So this might relate to something relative to maybe the location of where somebody works. Maybe it's related to the hours that they're going to work, the remuneration that's going to be covered, anything that really covers off in the contract that's included in here. For example, you might have within your contracts that there is an additional provision provided around something to do with annual leave. So that's something that you could potentially put in here. So it could be draft a clause that includes an additional day of annual leave per each year of employment. And then what will happen through in here, our AI will go through, it will use checking legislation and checking recently created documents across all of the data points that we have. It will look to then create something that could be relevant for you to put into here. So you can see now it's created this clause to say, I've got a new clause here that's covering here. In addition to statutory leave entitlements, you can accrue one additional day of annual leave for each completed year of continuous employment. So what we can do there is we can find the point where we would want to put this one in. So for example, in this one, we might want to put it in just under the rest of the leave provisions, click insert at cursor, and then that's gone through and added that directly into the spot that we're looking to put that in. We also have insights. So once you've completed the document and put all of your information in, it'll give us an idea of what are some of the areas that may be risks and things to consider, and potentially areas you want to speak to a lawyer about. So for example, currently in this document, it said through in here that during the probationary period, the employer may terminate the agreement by giving you 1 week's written notice. Because within here, it's saying that it lacks specific duration and performance criteria, this might be something that you could look to include in here if there's specific things that would really trigger this to happen. So it's going to give you an idea of these are some things to watch out and may become issues down the track. And you can tick all of these off as you go and mark them as read to finish off your document. You can also make free text edits directly into the document, so you can actually add in and modify anything within the different lines and the clauses of the contract directly through here with a free text editor. We've got it made it very easy for you to do any kind of different formatting, paragraphing that you need to do directly within that editor as well. And if you are doing this with somebody else, maybe you're working with the other party, or maybe you're doing this with another manager or another person within your organization, you can use the track changes to actually collaborate with them on this document, marking in what are the changes that you've made. And then as part of you going through and making those edits, you can then go through, and I might just add one in here as an example. So we might, for example, say that as an example, excluding this line from the location clause. It will then come through and it will make a suggestion of saying this is something that we can look to collaborate with the other parties on. And then we make it very easy for you to go through and to make that collaboration. So you can go and do that directly by clicking onto share, inviting others into that document for them to look and review those changes within there as well. Once you've completed the document, everything's ready to go. You then can send it off to be signed. So it will allow you to do this either signing by yourself, setting up an e-signature flow to then send to the other party to get both parties to complete and sign on their behalfs, and it will chase the paper trail of that and allow you to send reminders to get that one completed. Or if you're creating an employment agreement that you want to use on multiple occasions, you can create a template where you actually are just putting in some set inputs that the other party needs to put in, and they can update that dynamically whenever you need that to happen. And it just uses one easy to use link that you can put into your different workflows. Once everything's done, you can hit download. You can download this document in PDF or Word if you want to make further edits within your own ecosystem, and you're all set to go. You also have the ability from here to do reviews using AI to do an instant review of anything in the document and ask any questions that you might have, or you can send this directly over to a lawyer to get advice if you upgrade to our advisory plans. So that's it. You can see how easy it is to get started. You can create, complete, customize, and send off an employment agreement for the other party to sign, all in a matter of minutes, with all of the information, all of the insights, all of the risk, all covered in one simple to use platform.